Hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Incredible Machines podcast, where we converse with incredible people doing incredible things in an effort to figure out what makes them incredible. Today, I'm thrilled to sit down with someone very close to me, my brother Grant. Not only is he family, but he's also an entrepreneur, a leader, and a digital transformation expert. Grant's career has spanned industries from telecommunications to sports, all the way to leading digital transformation initiatives in major organizations in the UK. He's also a judge at the United Kingdom Customer Experience Awards, a testament to his experience and expertise in customer-centric leadership. In this episode, we dive into Grant's philosophy on leadership, resilience, and the importance of constantly pushing yourself to grow, both personally and professionally. Whether you're building teams, running a business, or just looking for some inspiration to fuel you on your journey, there's a ton of value here. The learnings from this session include an emphasis on the importance of constantly evolving and learning from every experience, how to empower teams through empathy and accountability, the importance of discipline in personal and professional success, thriving in chaos, why discomfort leads to growth, adopting an entrepreneurial mindset in corporate environments, parallels between sports and business for building high-performance teams. Grant's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance, adaptability, and heart. So let's dive in and discover what makes him incredible. Welcome, Grant. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Great studio.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for being involved in it. So I'm Grant Oliff, an entrepreneur, and I'm joined with Luke, my business partner and co-host and creative director for this podcast. I've got a little bit of an intro on Grant. So as I said, Grant's my brother, older by about 11 years, almost 11 years. And Grant's born and raised in South Africa. His current role is head of digital transformation or director of digital transformation. He's judged and is a judge of the UK Customer Experience Awards. He's done it multiple times, showcasing his expertise in customer experience. He's got a career of over 30 years, traversing many disciplines, and I think that's what we're going to really get into, and I'm excited to discuss that, how he managed that. And another thing about Grant is that he's an expat. He's living in the UK at the moment, so he's come to visit us as Shido for a short time. Very excited to have him. So his involvement has... the traverse I speak about is from telecommunications all the way through to MMA and owning gyms and being very involved in that category, seeing the South African team and joining the South African team across in championships, and then into a digital transformation lead role at a big corporate in the UK. And then he's been involved in startups and leadership and coaching and just is definitely what I would consider an incredible machine. We went over this in episode 1, Luke, but just for the short line on this, Grant, to tee you up, is that incredible machine as a shorthand definition would be somebody that walks into a room and changes the room for the people in there. And I've worked with Grant personally now for a while, and obviously he's my second oldest brother, and he definitely does that for me. But I've noticed that of his teams, like they light up when he joins a meeting or he walks into the room. So it's just an amazing thing. Leadership philosophies span across compassion, discipline, growth, empathy, and courage. And just something we do in our meetings, and I'm looking to do it here, Luke. But how are you feeling? What's the one word that resonates with you at this moment in time?
Relaxed.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
You're in South Africa for a couple of weeks. You've been here for
So I'm on holiday at the moment. I suppose that's why I'm relaxed. Spent the last couple of days on the beach, surfing and swimming and having fun in the sea, good old Durban style. We're here back meeting up with the team next week in Joburg and taking them for an away day. It's a little bit of work, but mainly a little bit of pleasure. So it's been a long run, but it's good to just sit and relax, to be honest.
We share another common interest, and that is getting South African teams pumping, getting money pounds into rands. So, just any highlights from the trip so far?
Oh man, it's really good to be back, first of all, and back as a family. A lot of what we do as a family is hugely important to me. I think that's one of my strengths, is always traveling and being with my family. But one of the highlights, just spending time with my friends and my family at the moment, which has been really great. You know, you forget how close they are and how far they are when you're back in the UK. So it's been just spending time with my family and really having that African sun on your face. You can't beat it.
It's different, huh? It's different, yeah.
Completely.
Okay, cool. So we'll go into the lifeline section, which is just give us some background. Like how do you? So I've got a good friend that would ask me this question every night, like, why are you like this, John? So how are you like this? What happened? Timeline, and we break it into categories of business, personal, and family. And just, a short bio on you.
Yeah, I think ever since I can remember, I've wanted to be a leader, and I wanted to be involved in business and really in growth. From the early days, I've had a growth mindset, and I've worked really hard to improve my life from day one. Was at DHS, left school, went straight out into the world and started working. And from there, I knew I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to run my own businesses, and that's what I did. At every opportunity I took, I went out on my own. Failed lots of times and learned lots of times. Also had some really successful businesses and managed to get to where I am now, which is in a really great, exciting industry in the UK where we're solving some really serious problems. And I've got an amazing team and company that backs me. And it's great having a purpose in life, and I think the most important thing for me is growing and improving. Continuous learning and continuous growth for me is what it's all about.
Yeah, one of the questions I tapped up your team because I meet with them every now and again, and tapped up them and I said, what questions would they like to ask Grant if he was on a podcast? So there are a few, but picking from the top there, you've transitioned multiple categories. So you've done telecoms. So telecoms to MMA, a gym ownership, and then into this digital transformation and user experience specialist. And then running and managing teams and that sort of stuff. How have you managed to that diversity?
So I think for me, it's always been like the work's just there. Like work's all the same. Your personal growth and how you grow people and how you put things together and how you solve problems. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like industries have the same problems and people are the same in different corporates and different businesses. And that's so, for me, telecoms is about communications, about sales. It's about making sure that you can deliver on what you're promising and what you're talking. Same as the marketing industry, same as manufacturing industry. We need to produce something out there, get it out to market, and then make sure that we can deliver it in our best way. So if you take the actual industry away and you just look at the functions that you perform as a leader, they're the same. It doesn't matter. It's always just a product. And I've always believed that as a salesman, with my salesman hat on, I can sell anything as long as I believe in it and as long as it adds positive to myself and the people that I'm selling it to. So it doesn't really matter what industry it is. And I really do believe that. Like every time I hear of someone talking about a new opportunity, I'm like, oh, I would love to sell boats in Miami. That sounds like fun. So for me, it's about growth. It's about learning, and it's about really just taking opportunities and then winning. Like I like results. So, and it hasn't always worked that way. But I think if you're going in with that mindset where, like, I want to win, I want to just test until I win, and then I'm happy. And then I'll decide whether I want to come back to it or not. That growth for me, that feeling of uncomfortable, like being uncomfortable, I love it. Not many other people do, I know that. But I'm really good when things around me are in chaos and situations are uncomfortable. I'm really good because I can sort of think through and understand what my North Star is I understand what my North Star is. I believe 100% in what my North Star is, and just keep moving forward and keep growing and keep that momentum on your life, which is growth, continuously learning and getting better at what you are, becoming that person that you want to become. When you were a kid, that's the person, and how do you do that? And so many people lose that in their life and just hate their jobs or hate their situations. I've been there before. It's a horrible place. I never want to go back. I'm always passionate and excited about what I want to do. Otherwise, I don't do it.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I heard you say there, and it's something, I'm going to ask a question on this, but something I know to be true about you is that you're one of the best sales and marketing people I've ever met. Like you said, you can sell anything, but it sounds like you said you have to believe in what you're selling.
Have to believe.
So, yeah, how do you communicate that to your team and get them as psyched, would just be the word that's coming to mind, as psyched as you are to sell, and how do you do that?
So I think, again, for me, what I love doing is helping people and creating an impact. So if I've got a product or service or anything that's going to create an impact, you get so much more volume and appreciation from doing that. And it's easy. It's affection. It rubs off on people. When you're excited about it, what we're doing at the moment is solving problems with poultry and disease and chasing disease down and understanding how disease works and moves and all that. And it's again, if you had told me 2 years ago I'd be doing it, I'd laugh at you. I was working with Google and doing some banks and all those sort of things. But the problems we're solving are making impacts in people's lives, and they're solving time for the industry, and time is money. And when you're passionate about what you're doing, it's easy to get up every day and actually try and solve this problem and work together. For me, it's simple as everyone just wants to solve the problem and really add. Everyone wants to make an impact. Everyone that I've spoken to that comes to me when I'm doing mentoring and all that, their biggest thing is, how do they make an impact? And if they can make an impact, they feel fulfilled. So it's about getting people to make and to understand and to see that impact that they're making day to day, I suppose.
Yeah. So I love that. So another question from your team, that a few of them have been with you for a while. They've traversed to different categories. And the question was, but how does Grant build teams like that? How does he, you just say everyone, I heard you say this, everyone I meet is like that. Not everyone's like that. So, but you seem to be able to spot the people. Is there a unique identifier that you have for that?
So I didn't say everyone I meet is like that. I said everyone that I've mentored has that ability to want to do better. So I'm really good with working with people that want to figure it out, because I wanted to figure it out. So I asked those questions and I realized that like anything we do in life, there are rules and there's ways of doing it. And people actually, like a business coach tells you the answers that you already know. You know what to do. You're just not doing it. You need a coach. A rugby coach helps you improve, but you know how to do it. And that's the thing. So how do I do it? I look for qualities in people that they talk about that are not out in the open, but that I can see within them. Those qualities of becoming the best at what they want to be, becoming a champion, for example, or just becoming the best project manager out there. I look for those qualities and then I help them learn how to become the best. And I help them motivate themselves to become the best and to work through it. And it doesn't always work out, because one of the best things that you can do for someone is give them that support. But it's up to that person to make the change and to make it happen. So, for me, with my teams, I like them. They're very accountable to themselves. We're accountable to each other. I'm accountable to them. They hold me accountable every single day. If I drop the ball, they let me know, as do I. And we want to be the best. So we hold each other accountable. That people have that in them naturally. You just need good people around you to bring it out and to do it. And when I had the gym, we used to have people that would come and train with us. And we had 25 fighters that used to train to fight each other. And then we'd have people come in. And we just used to let nature take care of the ones that weren't going to be our tribe. They didn't fit in. They didn't like it. maybe they felt we were too strong, maybe they or trained too hard, or maybe not many people felt that we didn't train hard enough. But the fact is that nature takes care of these things. People want to be in successful areas, and if they don't find themselves being successful, they move on. That's what I look for. I look for where people don't want to fit in, and I move them on as quickly as possible, and I nurture what we've got.
Okay. Yeah, there's a few things that have come up from that I'll need to touch on. But so one of the things on I mentioned in the intro that you've moved to the UK now. So you're a South African living in the UK. It's unheard of. But no, how have you integrated into and assimilated to life in the UK? What's been your secrets to building a life on foreign shores?
So, I mean, again, we went there. I took my family 2.5 years ago with promising opportunities. Lots of things went wrong, and we've had to change direction, and we've had a real struggle for 2.5 years. But to answer your question, that struggle's made us find new solutions into our communities and things like that. I started with a rugby club. Again, it's easy for people that are part of sport. For me, is everything. And if you can get into a club, like-minded people, so people with the same sort of mindset. Why are they coming? Their kids are playing rugby. They want their kids to do well. And those sort of people are attracted to each other because they want to achieve things. You become friends. You stand on the side of the road. And in the UK, you stand on the side of the road. Sorry, side of the field. And the UK, you stand on the side of the field, and it can be pouring with rain, -3 degrees, and you form a bond with these people that their kids are playing with you. So having a centre is really great. The UK is also, there's over 500,000 Saffers there. Like, we're everywhere and we're amazing. Mm-hmm. So we come up, we come up to the top. And as we're walking around in the shops or the butchers or wherever, there's more South Africans and things like that. So you find your people as you go, and wherever you go, you find your tribe. And you only need a small group in order to grow and to feel comfortable. And that's what we've got. Luckily for myself, I've got a loving family and great support within my immediate family. So in the UK, it's only us. We had to give guardianship to my son, to Matthew, who's going off to school. Someone else other than us. We don't have anyone else in the UK. Like, we had to argue with them, but we don't know anyone else. But our family is solid, and from there we've been able to reach out and make friends, and just put yourself out there, So there are people in the same boat. There are people with a lot of the same experience that you've done, and you need people. So you've just got to put yourself out there and really reach out to them and try and create relationships. I've met South Africans, British, actually Portuguese, all of those in the UK, and have a really good friend base there now, which is really cool. A support base from our family side.
And it sounds like it's through sport. Huh? So just to touch on that, because we had somebody on the podcast recently, and they've also gone to New Zealand. Sarcastically, I'm saying this again. Who heard of a South African moving to New Zealand? So we do, like you said, we're everywhere, and we have numbers and that sort of stuff, and we do have numbers everywhere. But his integration was done through joining the community and firefighting. So it was interesting that you said sport now. I mean, that is a huge topic here in South Africa. And it's really one of the many things that brings this country together. So it brings us together even when we're not on our African soil.
Yeah, definitely. But sport brings actually everyone together. Like, and living in the UK, we've just gone through the Olympics. To have Team Great Britain, and everywhere you go is Team Great Britain, and they should be proud of their athletes. Like, they're incredibly proud of their athletes. So it brings the country together. When the football at the Euros, it's coming home, and it's a sense of pride for your nation and things like that. And South Africans are no different, except I think we're probably prouder than most nations out there. We have a lot to be proud about, and we have a lot to give, and we have a lot to offer the rest of the world. We're also, a lot of the time, sort of not down on, but looked down on, I suppose, as in who we are and things like that. But as a South African, I'm incredibly proud to be in the UK as a SAFA and to eat my boerewors and drive horse and wear my South African shirt all the time on the train, wherever I travel. Like, sport is massive for us, and it brings our nation together. When I flew out, there's 4 of us wearing our South African jerseys on Thursday, and the one guy's comment was, "They must know we're coming. They must know we're coming," and I love it because it is right. You know, we are that nation where we're proud of what we've done and what we've achieved, and I think that people must know that.
And often the underdog. Just on the sport, so we're going to stay with there because I want to transition to the MMA specifically as a sport and the representation for South Africa and that team. Can you take us through that experience?
Yeah, in 2009, I think around 2009, 2010, I started a gym called World of Warriors, WOW MMA, and we started training athletes. And yeah, we were really one of the biggest gyms around in South Africa. We had about 25 fighters, athletes representing us, training full time. We were like a workers' gym. I would open the gym from 5. Everyone would shower about 7:30 and go off to work. They'd come back again at about 5 after work, and we'd train till about 9 in the evening, and we'd train every Saturday. And we had some amazing talent and some great champions. And from there, I just worked with a lot of the athletes and got involved in the actual setup of MMA South Africa, which was the governing body, or is the governing body, I think, still now. And I did a 4-year stint for them where I developed the national team. In those days, we started the ladies divisions, and as I was leaving, the guys were starting the juniors, and I see the juniors have just been over for world champs in Bahrain. I did 3 world championships, 2 in Bahrain, 1 in Vegas, which I never got to go, last minute cancellation, unfortunately. But we had champions like Rudy Rurtz, who won gold, and all Africans. We fought the Swedes, who were the big people, worlds. We fought the Russians. We had broken arms and stories forever. But MMA is a sport that is a brotherhood when you train, because you go to war. Like, it's war. You're going into a cage and, like, you know, it's one-on-one. It's everything. It's your life that you're about to do it. And that
gladiator
stuff. And I did it for a long time, and I loved it. I had a promotion called Fight Star, which we did 54 events, with the biggest one being at Sun City. Super Bowl was our last one. We did it with an international event, the Brave, which our champion in Kosi is now their champion, which I'm really incredibly proud of. But from the South African side, you know, when we started this, we were ranked 30 odd in the world, and then when I left in 2018, we were number 4 in the world, and we had a strong foundation, which the guys now, I see Shane Carr's taken over the juniors, and they really are continuing to drive the sport. There's new promotions that have opened up all the time and all that. And of course, this Saturday, a good friend of ours and world champion Drickus is going to defend his title. And it's amazing for the sport. You know, we speak about Drickus. I saw him make his debut at 19, 18. He was a kickboxer that came into the EFC, and he's just gone from strength to strength and is a top bloke as well. So it's really nice to have that guy representing our sport at the moment internationally and being the world champion at UFC level.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I see potentially Sia and Etzebeth are walking him out.
Yeah, and I think so. I mean, again, like, one of the big things, I got into a lot of the rugby coaching and the strength and conditioning and that, because we, MMA, we were at a cutting edge of preparing athletes. We followed Rory Diesel and myself used to, follow the American football guys and figure out the training regimes and how we could train, and we used to really work hard to get our stuff down. But the sport was new. We were making the rules. It was exciting, and when we used to go and train the rugby guys, we used to say, like, you don't understand the reason for mixed martial arts. It's so rugby players can have heroes as well. Which they didn't really like that much, but again, it's such a. I mean, we helped some of the schools up in Johannesburg, their rowing teams. We did conditioning for their rowing teams. We did 3 of the top rugby schools, strength and conditioning for their first team. We did training a lot, and again, mixed martial arts itself. Any martial arts is amazing. Like, if you've got kids, you need to get them into martial arts, but mixed martial arts is everything, like striking, wrestling, grappling, and just being that core strength and understanding that contact with individuals and things like that gives a kid a huge advantage. But even an adult, that muscle and growth and literally strength. In my mind, if you're a female, you need to understand how to fight off your back. You should be doing jiu-jitsu. No doubt in my mind.
Just to interject there, I heard you say about the kids. Kids should be doing it. I know you probably lean towards a Muay Thai a bias because of your training, but would you recommend Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Definitely.
Specifically, okay.
Definitely, yeah.
And in that order, you'd go, if you can't find a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, go look for Muay Thai, then what comes next?
If you can't find a BJJ gym in this country, then you're not looking hard enough. They're all over the place. There's some amazing gyms out there. There's some international brands, and there's some great people in the community that I know of that are training across this country. So you can find it. But yes, to answer your question, it's jiu-jitsu, wrestling. Wrestling is a really core and a favorite of mine as well. And then stand-up is either you're going to be doing your kickboxing or your Muay Thai, or even just straightforward boxing. There's lots of boxing gyms around that. Well, for me, it's about the training. Like, there's no better way of training and getting fit and toning your muscle in that than actually any combat sport. For me personally, so
it's high stakes, and and one of the things that I really love in observing it and partaking in it myself, but was to know thyself. Like, you know what you're capable of, and also what you're not capable of. So it really puts you in. It's humbling, huh?
Yeah, it's incredibly humbling.
One of your philosophies that I've got noted in leadership is discipline based. Is that been key for you, and how do you integrate that with teams?
So for me, discipline is everything, and if you can get really good at something, you have to incorporate discipline. And like, when things are really hard, I lean very, very in on my disciplines, and that includes journaling, meditation, training, all these things that get your mind right and get you into the right frame of mind. And from there, you can attack your day and you can keep going. So disciplines for me, when it comes into teams, 100%. Like, if you want to be, and again, like, the teams I like to work with are people that want to be the best. So when I tell them that this is what I expect and this is the level that I expect and that we should be doing, it takes discipline to get there. They understand that. They might not like it all the time, but if you want to be the best, you have to go uncomfortable places and you have to do more than the person next to you. So, like, discipline for me is everything. And once you can get your mindset over discipline, like, for me, discipline is just a way of life. And it doesn't mean you have to live every second of your life like you're in the army and like you can't do anything. I don't at all.
Not the Goggins life. No.
Not the Goggins life. Like, I'm a mixture between him and probably, I don't know, Fat Frank or some guy that just lies on the couch and does nothing. But David Goggins was in my head during COVID when I was training by myself and trying to flip tires in my backyard, and David Goggins would laugh at me and tell me what a whimper was and all that sort of thing. But his discipline is great for if that's what you're looking to achieve. But just taking half a cup of what he gives you and doing it will make you better at what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't have to copy these guys and take it to extremes. You have to take it as far as you're ready to take it at that particular time. And then from there, figure out Like every time you fail in life, and I was having this discussion with someone the other day, every time you fail in life, you don't start again. You just start from another level. You just keep going. You just stall, and then you go again. So you don't go back to the beginning. It's not snakes and ladders. You don't go back to the beginning. And you just settle down, get comfortable, and then attack again. Or move forward however you can, or sideways. It's about the movement, and it's about getting going, that momentum getting going. Because we all know that once things are going well, it's easy. This world is so easy to do, and we can just carry on, go. And then we get complacent, and we sit back, and then the universe gives us another little slap across the face or a wake-up call, and we either go back into our shell, or we go out and attack that and move past it and go to the end result. So discipline for me is where I go to when I'm about to become really good and better in my life. I start off with discipline. I start off by sitting down and focusing on my goals, my ambitions, reminding myself where I am, reminding myself where I've come from, and reminding myself what's important to me. And doing that on a daily basis means it becomes a habit and becomes part of who I am. And that I know for a fact because I've done it. And I've done it for the last 7-8 years. I know exactly what I need to do in order to get going. Doesn't mean I'm going every day, but I know what I should be doing.
Awesome. Just quickly, so again, I know you as my brother, and maybe the end point of this will be highlighted. But I know you as an entrepreneur, and from what I understand of entrepreneurs, they're made up of different attributes. Attributes would be the right word, I think. So they're creative. So I know you to be creative. They are conscientious, so they get stuff done. Okay? And then they are disagreeable. There's a few other ones that I'll touch on now, but that I know you to be disagreeable. Maybe that would be the part that stands out as being a brother. Like, didn't always agree on things, and maybe it was my turn to watch the TV or whatever. But I do know you to be quite a disagreeable. It's a trait of very successful entrepreneurs, but there's also the knowledge that you can't be too much of anything can be a bad thing. So disagreeability is something that needs to be moderated. How do you do that? Like, how do you manage that?
So it's about control. Like for me, like I disagree with lots of things that happen, and even in my own teams and even in there. And one of the good examples I can give you is that, like for me, understanding how to do it, like I think I know how to do it, I know how to do it, and I can do it if I need to do it. But if people have got other opinions, it doesn't mean my way is always right. So I like to go and do it. And one of the best examples I can give is my oldest son, Carl, when TikTok first came out. And he started a rugby channel, and he came to me for some advice, and he told me, well, not for advice, actually, he came to tell me what he was going to do. And I was about to tell him, actually, you know what, like that just sounds ridiculous. You should do it this way. And I decided just to let him do it and get it on. And within 3 weeks, he had 1 million people viewing his footage, and he was absolutely on fire and going viral all the time. And I think about that part a lot, because I was going to stop him from doing what he was doing and take him back to the traditional way of how I would have done it, which might have got the same result, maybe, I don't know. But I learned from there that it got cemented from there that there's lots of ways to skin a cat. Your way is not always right. So when I disagree with people, it's usually because I've been burnt. I've done it. I am stubborn. I get that. And I like to know what works. I like to go for it because I know what works. And again, for me, we'd go away on the MMA camps, and the guys would have to lose weight. I know how to drop weight for fighters. It's easy, old school. Sweatsuit, skipping rope, go and do it. You drop your weight, trust me. But as we got into the later stages, everyone came with all these fancy technologies and fancy ways of doing it and things like that. If you ask me how to lose weight for a fight, skipping rope, sweatsuit, off you go. So when they used to come and ask me for help, I used to tell them, that's the advice I'm going to give you. Go and do it that way. But coach, we don't want to do it that way. So like for me, being, disagreeing with people and not really seeing their way of that is a shortcoming on most people's. And I've learned that You know, sometimes you turn around after making all the decisions and there's no one around you anymore, and it's on your back now, you know, and you've got to drive forward to go and do it. I've been there. So, yeah.
It ties in with your lifelong learning, I imagine. The word that is coming to mind is openness. So you disagree, but you're open. So, and maybe it's tied into that discipline that you have. You've disciplined yourself enough to know, like, okay, I've got to be open in this situation. I'm going to let him do this thing. If he fails, it's low stakes right now anyway. But let's see. And I'm open to learning from that.
A lot of what I've been involved in as well, and what I love about what I do is and I'll call it cutting edge. And I don't mean, you know, we're inventing razors, sharp technology, and we're doing all these wonderful things. But like in the MMA scene, in digital transformation projects I'm working on at the moment and have been working on for a while, we're changing the way people do things. So, like, I'm actually not sure that this is the right way to do it. I know the method and I know that it works, but it might not necessarily work for your business at this time. But I know how to test and see the shortcomings a lot quicker than a lot of the companies that are trying to get off the ground, because I've done it for it's 2018, you know, we got into the new ways of work, which everyone's raving about, and all these, and squad formations and agile and all these wonderful things. But being able to be flexible and to fail fast is a huge, huge benefit. And I learned to fail fast through my business life, but actually through martial arts. Like there, I watched people train for 6 weeks, lose, back on Monday to train for another 6 weeks to get better and to grow. And that's the same as life for me. Is like, the quicker you can get back and going, the easier life becomes, because it's muscle memory. You keep going with that training and you keep learning and you keep getting better. Don't allow yourself to get in that sort of stalemate where you sit and, you know, eat chocolate ice cream on the couch and cry into your tissues. Like, you don't have time for that. You're only here for a short time. Like, go out and smash it. You know what I mean? Like, people are amazing. I've seen people do amazing things. I've seen Delano Human fight a 120 kg Russian monster and he had a broken arm. You know, I've seen people do the most courageous things, and some people might call it stupid, but they've done amazing things. People can do amazing things, and I believe everyone can do amazing things. It's just up to you to figure out how to unlock that within yourself, or it's up to the people around you to unlock that within that person and around. And that's what's great about a team. When you're part of a team that's achieving and doing, you want to do better. It's obvious. It's like, it's not rocket science. You want to do better. I want to be part of this. This is what I want to be part of. I want to be part of something that becomes amazing. Like, that's exciting, isn't it? I want to be amazing. I want to be part of this amazing machine. Like, I want to be part of it. And when you're part of it, it is the most incredible ride, and there's no one that can disagree. Anyone that's been part of something that's amazing in their life, look back at that time, whether they knew how to do their job or play that sport or do it, but their team was amazing and carried them through the line, got them over, changed the way they worked, changed the way they did. That period was amazing. And like I say, the universe comes along and puts us back into an uncomfortable position a lot of the time. That's growth. That's where you've got to grow and where you've got to do it. But we have that ability to be amazing as many times as we want in one day, in 1 minute. We have that within ourselves. So, again, I think that's the secret to getting better, is knowing that you can be amazing anytime you want. It's just up to you.
Okay, so really interesting. I've picked this up in Luke. We talk about the 6 principles, and one of them being detach and distribute, or create once, populate everywhere. And it sounds like to me you treat there were interlinks there, or you're navigating between career and sport. And the teams were whether they're teams. So the teams in sport and teams in business, and it's actually just a game. Either way, how do you? So is that, did I get that right?
Yeah,
you treat that. So you go into the UK and you go and take up a coaching role in rugby, and you're learning from coaching there, and it's the same thing as learning to coach and your team, or mentor or manage a team. Are there
It's exactly the
You're
same.
just doing the same thing.
It's exactly the same. Business is about people. Sport is about people. Being really good at anything is finding your talent and nurturing that talent and giving that person the freedom to grow. If you've got a really good fly half, but you don't give them that freedom to actually go and have a go at it, you'll never know. Same as if you've got someone really good in your company. Let them go and let them work. I've had people like shocked that I've allowed them to do a junior-looking people. In my mind, they're really knowledgeable about what they do. How did you let them do that presentation to the CIO? That's your role. But these are the people that are developing it. These are my team that are going to be implementing it. So my job to them is to make sure that I manage people's expectations when it comes to what we can deliver. Their job is to actually over-deliver and really create. And it's the same wherever we are. So yes, to answer your question, for me, it is actually just one big game. It's about winning. It's about just continuously finding a way to win and to move that needle forward all the time, to get better at what you do, to move up the next league, to become the best in the world. Like, that's actually what I talk about all the time is, do you want to become the best in the world? This is how you do it. I know we've trained champions. We've worked with people. We understand these sort of things. You have to become better than the person next to you every single day of your life. You have to be continuously improving. Whether you're playing sport or whether you want to become the CEO, you have to become better at what you do. And creating a business team is the same as any professional or sports team out there. You need your star quarterback, you need your star fly half, you need your solid players that are going to do the job, but you need everyone to work as one unit moving forward. A lot of people call their businesses their family. Again, there are family businesses out there, and that's great. But as a business unit, if you want a high-performing business, you want a high-performing team. Make sense? If you want a high-performing sports team, you want high-performing athletes. So if you want a high-performing business team and you treat them like athletes where they need to go out and prepare, train, and work for their living, they're a team. They're an executive team that comes together and has a strategy on how they're going to beat the campaign or how they're going to get this across the line. So yes, I do look at everything as sport. I love sport.
And I noticed this I think it was in The Last Dance. Luke, have you seen that Michael Jordan? You haven't seen the Last Dance? I recommend it. But in doing research behind Michael Jordan, I was a huge fan in the 90s, and they had mindfulness coaches in the Chicago Bulls team in the 90s. Like, mindfulness has only become in vogue in like the 2015 up, like, as far as I know. Like, it's gone. I mean, when I was in New York in 2018, the Calm app had billboards in Times Square, massive. So it's like, that's where it is for Gen Pop now in 2018. In the 90s, sports were already, like, teams were already utilizing mindfulness and coaches and meditation and that. What things have you taken from sports into business?
Again, I think, like, I like to work in a squad format, and I like to include everyone in what we're doing. So we talk about transparency, and for me, again, when you're coaching in an environment, and you, like, what's the goal of this team? Like, what do we want to do? And I'm talking teams, like, again, high performance teams for me is where I like to play. So understanding the full transparency along the lines of what that team wants to achieve, understanding the full transparency of what your business needs to achieve, and then working together as one unit and going forward and making sure that you deliver that. So for me, it's about being prepared, understanding where you are. My team, as you know, and I'm sure you've spoken to them lots of times, I make conscious effort all the time to make sure everyone's aligned. As soon as I figure that there's someone that's not aligned, we stop the bus, we discuss what is, and we carry on going.
It's like a timeout. Yeah.
It's like a timeout. Where are we? Why do you feel this way? What are you doing? How do we help you? Somewhere we've lost the plot. Because again, for me, like, whatever you're doing, if you understand what your role is in that team, and you understand what your good is or what your excellent is, and then people just judge you on what you're doing, You know, a prop doesn't make mad breaks all the time. When he does, or when he kicks a 50-22 like Cock did the other day, it's an amazing celebration of it. So they can do it, but it's not their job. That's not their role.
Yeah.
And that's what I focus on in a lot of my teams, is that, again, for me, it's about being able to connect with the person next to you. So it doesn't come through me. It comes through my team. My teams drive it because they connect, they understand, and they know what good is. They know what excellent is, and they know what bad is, and they don't want bad. So that's kind of where it goes. And the competitive side. Like, again, I like to win.
Yeah, it's going to touch me nicely to those. So, as I mentioned, I've always known you as an entrepreneur, okay, but now you're working in a corporate. So, entrepreneurs, again, disagreeable, creative, and then that they have that conscientiousness that. So, lots of people are creative. You'll go to the coffee shop down the road here, and you'll see the most creative people in the world coming up, solving the world's problems. But that conscientiousness means that they get stuff done. They actually get it done, and it's interesting to see an entrepreneur in a corporate, and I've heard of this quite a bit. But in your mind, why would a corporate hire an entrepreneur?
Again, for me, I think people have that urge to win, to get it over the line. Like, that's why they go into, like, so if you look at yourself as an entrepreneur, like, you want to do things faster than the system. Well, I do. I want to do things different, and faster. And improve them and make them better for myself, maybe. But I've never worked for a corporate. I've worked in corporates before as consultancy work and gone into things. And I've never understood why they move so slowly. I've never got it. It doesn't make sense for me because that machine just turns so slowly. But then when you look at the size of the machine, you understand that it all has to move together and it all has to grow together. But if you look at a lot of what they do now with innovation houses and things like that, is they completely cut them separate from the main organization, and they allow them to build up their space, and they allow them to go really, really quickly so that they can get ahead and they can do what they need to do. That's my space, and that's an entrepreneur space. That's not someone that's lived in the corporate world that understands how all the red tape and all that. That comes later. That comes in when you're doing a digital transformation project. That comes when people start to see the machine starting to turn and the wheels starting to turn, and they go, oh, hold on a minute. I didn't think this was going to go, but it's starting to go. Have they checked this legal contract? Have they done this? What about this hoop that we should throw in front of them? Because people are scared of change. So it's important that for me, like in that entrepreneur mindset, so I tell all my people now when we started this latest project 2 years ago, is as much as I'm not working for a startup, like this is a company that's been around for 12 years and they're the leader in their industry. Like they're a big company and they're doing really well and they've got a great footprint and they're growing in UK and they're growing globally. I tell everyone that joined my team, this is a startup. We're going to work as a startup here. And the reason is that we've got to be hungry to get going. If you're not hungry to get moving, it takes you a long time to get momentum. Once you've got momentum, it's easy to keep that momentum. And even when you get knocked back, it's easier to start again. So if we treat everything as a startup, nice and lean, understand what your roadmap is, and keep that part of it going, then you don't fall into that corporate trap where there's 50 people doing 25 people's jobs. You know, overkeep people. And I get the people side of the business. But in my view on the world at the moment is this world is changing so quickly and the way we work is changing and business is changing and life is changing that if you're not in the front, you are going to change. You're just going to change later. And I always say to my customers and people that listen to me and talk to me is that it's that time from when you start to when you realize to when you actually begin the hard changes and things like that. It's a long road. You don't change overnight. You may as well start now because it's coming. And if you don't change, you're going to lose your way in this new way of working, this new business. You know, like it's opened up. The world's opened up. So you get disrupted.
Yeah. And just to touch on that, so I know the three things, and I've said them already. An entrepreneur is creative, disagreeable, conscientious, so you get stuff done. And the X factor, which you've been hinting at the entire time, I'm not sure if you said the word, but it's urgency. So an X factor for an entrepreneur is to be those three things and have urgency. So it needs to be done now. Like, I need to get it done now. And have you read, I know you're a big reader, and the Lean Startup, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like you're deploying that exact methodology that I'm busy with it now. And how corporates have those outposts. It reminds me, and I'm going to try to segue this into the case study that we want to touch on. But we'll talk about this I don't get tired of this. Luke will probably at some stage throw something at me for mentioning it, but that it ties into the Stronger Together campaign, the Springboks, but the insight and behind that. So if you want to go somewhere quickly, you go alone. So you deploy little teams that just go quickly. If you want to go, and then you can bring the rest of the troops when you've decided and you failed fast, you failed forward, and that sort of thing that I heard you say. So if you want to go somewhere far, you go together, and you bring a team with you. I'm not sure if that's resonating with
100%. And again, like where we're different to what the rest of the world and what people are looking at and the way it's always been done is that they look at it, and I love you say it all the time, is perfect is
the enemy of good.
I work on 70%. We work at minimal viable products, and we work at getting things out to market, and we get it out to our world at 70%.
And then it's right.
And then we see how good it is, and then we decide how much we want to invest and how much we want to grow this. But getting it out there in front of your customer, again, helps you understand what you're doing. So people will laugh, but we take an app that's planned to be, and it was a very popular airline in South Africa, planned to launch in 2.5 years. I think their roadmap was for the app. We got it out to market in 90 days, just as a minimum viable product. And then we worked to get it better and to get it better and to get it. But people were using it, and they were complaining. It would be nice if we had this. No problem. Put it into sprint format, and within 2 weeks we could create a lot of what we were asking for, and we improved it, which means we always got into action from our customers. We still got feedback, and we got really good at creating what our customers wanted, but listening to them and understanding, and then creating and solving. And we always had that North Star. We had that 2.5-year plan, same as the original project, in mind of where we wanted to be. But we didn't wait 2.5 years to put it out there. We put it out quickly, and eventually we actually went in different directions due to COVID, due to all these wonderful things that changed, that would have, at the end of the day, they would have sunk all their money in and never been able to launch it. So being quick, being urgent, like for me, is your X factor, your secret spice that gives you that advantage, that gives you that, wow, can't believe you can do that already. Being able to manage your customers' expectations and manage what your feedback is, that feedback loop, and how you develop from there is critical in making sure that your product becomes successful. And the beautiful thing about this is that not every product has to become hugely successful. Some of them are just leaping boards to the next. Stepping stones to the next. And that's what's so amazing. But you don't know that if you've put it on for 2.5 years, and when 2.5 years arrives and it's really crap.
The landscape's changed too.
You know, no one uses a fax machine anymore or whatever. Your product's changed. Your landscape's changed. Your customers have changed. You know, 2.5 years ago, you were after the teenage market. They've changed now. They're 20, So again, it's about being really quick to market, understanding. But understanding is the key thing, is knowing what people are looking at. I mean, the whole thing boils down to understanding people at the end of the day. That's really what it is about, like understanding people, what they do in work, what they don't do in work, what they like and what they don't like.
So it's one of your philosophies, and it was tied into empathy. So that's exactly what you're touching on there.
Exactly that.
So yes. to segue into the case study, Luke, so we can get there. It's a derivative of the Stronger Together, and we saw it. I literally saw it yesterday. I think you showed it to me, and Luke always sent it to me at the same time almost. And it's the new Checkers 60/60 ad, and yeah, just like to look at it. It's a long form, so it's not a TVC. But yeah, we'll play it now and then talk about it.
Another injury for South Africa. Little to the opposition know. They're not playing a team of 15. They're playing 60 million South Africans. More South Africans now steering the scrum. Full back in position and takes his eye off the ball. Desperately looking for a gap. The pointsman helps him out. Try time, South Africa. Mrs. Bullock bringing the gears. Those potholes will get you every single time. SA fielding the most intimidating front row. These aunties are Vus. A power play from the home side. Kanonfoot steps up. He strikes, and it's gone. It's gone! Unbelievable, unbelievable. Team South Africa, you biscuits.
Hulle speel nie so sport speel nie.
Okay, yeah, so I stand corrected. That was actually played during the halftime special of the Springboks Australia game. Grant informs me. Yeah, just a great piece. I think interesting one. I've got some thoughts on it, but so I'll just get into the technicalities of it. That in our principles, it would fall under that. It definitely fall under an EQ concept. So that, like you said, that empathy and understanding the customer. This is an ad for a very specific type of person, and definitely a proudly South African person that would be watching the rugby, but that it's definitely going to be shared by people that shop and make those orders. I can imagine this being it is remarkable, and that people talk about it and they'll share it. And the reason why it is an experience, it is an experience, this ad. So the principles experiences replace messages, and it makes you feel like there's things that will annoy you there or like trigger little emotions, and that's why I would definitely put it in that category. Also, the AQ concept, so adaptive quotient, the think differently or crazy be strong. I don't see this as being a massive budget that they spent on this. It's like low grade, like in a lot of ways, and they've got, so it looks like it was done quite quickly. I could be totally wrong on this, but yeah, it's not this huge, sexy millions budget sort of like refined. It's like, let's get this out fast. It's got a car guy. They've got this. They've got these stars. I actually learned, like just looking at it, to go look who's this little kid that kicks the ball. He's a 3-year-old sports fanatic in South Africa. Then the little guy dancing in the car keys, he's an influencer, and a dance, and that's went viral during COVID and that sort of stuff. So, and then there's comedians in there, and there's all kinds of things in there. So, and the reference to load shedding that we all get and turning the lights on, but using it to your advantage. I don't know. You said, one of the things you said, you've just arrived back. How did it make you feel?
Well, that's why for me it's like such a special ad, and it was the first real ad that I noticed, obviously watching the rugby, coming back and watching the rugby, and I had a real chuckle to myself, but it made me feel homesick. It made me feel like this is what I'm missing. Like I laughed right through it, the front row of the ladies.
Yeah.
Like we've been to those tea parties before. We've seen those ladies
potholes.
making the potholes. The load shedding has actually happened in real live games where it's been delays and things like that. So, one thing is amazing about South Africans is that we know how to laugh at ourselves. Like we know how to laugh at ourselves. We do. And it's one of the biggest strengths that a South African, or any person can say, but a South African has, is that, because can you imagine if you didn't know how to laugh at yourself in this country, like you would just cry the whole time, like you would just be miserable, you know. So being able to laugh at yourself as a South African, and like South Africans, I don't think we take ourselves as seriously as a heart attack. You know what I mean? Like we're all right with who we are. I definitely am. I love being a South African. I love being a South African abroad, like I said earlier. And that advert sums it up for me. Like, we laugh at ourselves, you know. We make a plan, a boer maak 'n plan, you know, jy roep 'n Engelsman. But, like, we make a plan and we carry on going and we laugh. We've got a good sense of humor. We can create happiness in our own suffering, you know, which is...
well, I think it's a point. I used to have that line that would come to me often. It's not like we get out alive, guys. It's and then it's the yin, the yang, and that. There's like, it's also very serious stuff we're talking about
very
there.
Serious.
But we are, that ability is to laugh at ourselves. You, Luke, you mentioned cultural. Is there anything you want to add there? That
No, I just think it's, you can't understand that ad if you're not a South African.
Yeah.
It's just, it touches on all the emotional points, the potholes. You know, the guy kicks the ball, the power's out. But it's just like, you see the power out, you're like, oh, shit, you know. And, I think it's great. I think just picking up on your resilience thing, I'm wondering how much our ability to laugh at ourselves and our humor is what enables us to be resilient.
Yeah, I think a big portion.
Yeah, because, I mean, you know, us South Africans we're so resilient, and it's like, maybe the humor's got something to do with that, and we might have to say thank you to Leon Schuster for that too.
well, whoever we thank for that, I think it is a definite X factor in the country, in our beings, basically, that we can just, because it cuts the tension. So it's so serious. Like, life is a serious business. We're up to our neck in it. I've heard that saying before. It's like big decisions, but you also don't get out alive. Yeah. So let's have a little bit of fun.
Exactly.
And that's what makes that ad. I think it is. They guys had an absolute draw making it, and I could be wrong about a lot of the things that I've said in terms of the production value and that sort of thing. But I love what you said there, Luke. Is that it made me think you would have to explain this. If you're an expat living in another country and you streaming the rugby and you start giggling at that ad, and the person, your spouse or whoever's next to you, like, what are you laughing at? And then you show the ad, they just would not get it. You'd have to have an explainer video on that.
Exactly. Which is cultural context.
Yeah. Which is amazing.
100%.
And so specific. So just to transition into a quote that keeps coming up and why this is meaningful to you. So I absolutely love this quote. It's been misattributed to Madiba, but it would be something I could imagine, and that's why it's misattributed, obviously, a lot of the time. But it's Marianne Wilson, an author and activist, and an amazing woman. But this quote goes like this: "It's our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be?" And that's the quote you wanted to present today, or talk to. I get shivers when I think about that. What does that mean to you?
Again, like, for me, I wrote this down on a piece of paper years and years and years ago. I actually had an argument with a mate. I wanted it tattooed across my back, but he was going to do it. And I didn't really want both of us to have the same tattoo across our back. Neither of us have it. But it's everything for me, because it's so true, isn't it? Like, we are amazing. And I've spoken about amazing human beings. Like, we are amazing. But most of us are too scared to shine.
We use incredible, so you got to change that.
We are amazingly incredible human beings. But most people out there are too scared, too embarrassed to share their goals, and they think people are going to laugh at them. Like, for me, again, who are you not to achieve what you're here for? Who are you not to take what the gifts that you've been given, the gifts that the universe has given you, and to create an impact in people's lives? Like, that's what we should be doing every single day of our lives. Like, that's what our mission is. That's what my purpose is to create an impact in people's life. Every day I want to create one impact in someone's life. And it's easy. It's a smile. It's a wave. It's a tip at a restaurant.
Yeah,
There's
100%.
so many different ways to make an impact in people's lives. And if we can do that, and one of the things I write down every single day, and I don't write anymore, but for many years, was my purpose is to make an impact. I hope that person that I make an impact is you today. I really do. Like, for me, being able to understand how incredible you are as a person, being able to just achieve those incredible things that we do, making someone smile is an incredible achievement. Changing their state. You know what? There's no money in kindness. There's no money in saying good morning and tipping your hat and smiling at someone and making them feel good about themselves or anything like that. You don't have to have money to do that. You just have to be able to share with people. And that's, for me, is what shining your light is. You know, your light can really be a beacon for a lot of people as you grow and as you do. And a lot of people that come to me that want to have help and things like that, they feel it inside them. They want to add impact in people's lives. They want to help people. And there's a saying that I always use, and this from when I was working in the airlines. You know, in the airlines, they make you put your mask on over your face first before you help someone else. And the reason there's that is that if you can't do that and you haven't got the air coming in, you can't help people. So you have to look internally first and start shining your light on other people. And once you've started and you understand that process, making an impact in people's lives is really easy. It's really easy.
Just on that, they tell mothers specifically to do that. It's like one of the most absurd things if you think about what a mother's hierarchy of importance are. Like, don't attend to your kids. You need to put this oxygen mask on yourself first. Because if you don't, you'll pass out while you're busy fixing theirs, and you won't be able to keep them alive, and you'll die too. So everyone dies. So you need to take care of yourself, put the oxygen mask on first, and then you can be of value to others. So I love that. Thanks for bringing that up. Just on the last question, which is the bonus one, and it's related to mothers. My sister-in-law and your wife, one of the team have pushed for this question too, and they said, if you can obviously give shout out or whatever you want to do here, but the question was, what have you learned from that incredible machine?
It's really an easy answer for me. I've learned love. I've learned unconditional love. That's what I've learned from Heather. Unconditional love.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's it. That's the best way to wrap it up. Like, with love. Loved having you on the pod and helping us launch this. And it's been a privilege, and thank you so much.
Brilliant. It was fantastic being here, and it's a great setup, and looking forward to the future. This incredible machine.